Okay, think about this. You get a notification, your phone software needs an update, you probably just tap, yes, right, no big deal.
Yeah.
Or maybe you spend a whole Saturday morning just getting your living room perfect, decluttering, organizing, feels good.
Sure. It's satisfying.
Right, but then when did you last give that same kind of proactive, careful attention to, well, you, the actual place you live in, 2 and 4 to 7, your body?
That really hits home. Um, we put so much energy into these places, our apartments, our desks at work, making them just right.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that's truly ours, our body,
Mm-hmm.
it often gets, well, ignored
Yeah.
until something goes wrong.
Exactly. And that's something that really jumped out from the English Leap podcast material we looked at. This core idea. Your body isn't just some machine you drive around. It's
Right.
your home. Like your real permanent home. Not the place you rent, not where you work, this thing you're in right now.
And shifting your view like that, seeing it as your actual residence,
Yeah.
that changes things, doesn't it? It makes it less about, I don't know, looking a certain way and more about just basic respect,
Yeah.
consistent care for this one body you've got.
Yeah. And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We want to pull out the key insights from that source. Not about the latest diet craze or, hitting the gym harder,
Uh-huh.
but about building this, fundamental self-respect. Paying real attention to this amazing home we call our body.
Okay, so let's dive in. The most basic point, maybe the most obvious, but we forget it all the time.
What's that?
You only get one body. That's it. No trade-ins, no upgrades.
It's funny, isn't it? We'll, spend hours researching a new phone, get the latest model instantly, freak out over a tiny scratch on our car.
Absolutely.
But when our body feels worn out, constantly sending these little signals,
The
aches, tiredness, what do? Often just ignore it, push through. Why do you think we do that?
Well, the podcast transcript uses great analogy. It's like having a house with a leaky roof or cracks in the walls.
Okay.
Instead of fixing the actual roof, the real problem, we just, put a bucket under the leak.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe slap some paint over the crack.
Like using coffee to power through exhaustion instead of resting.
Exactly that. We use these temporary fixes, caffeine, maybe painkillers, but the underlying issue, it's still there. Probably getting worse.
And unlike that leaky house you could eventually move out of, or the car you can sell.
You're stuck with this body, right? I
Yeah.
mean, not stuck in a bad way, but it's you.
It's the foundation for everything.
Hmm?
Your happiness, your ability to focus, to chase your dreams, it all rests on your physical well-being. How solid is your foundation feeling lately?
Hmm.
And that brings up the whole long-term consequence thing. It's not just feeling today. If you consistently ignore what your body needs,
Yeah.
you're looking at potential burnout down the line, maybe regret, because you couldn't do things due to
Fact
poor
check.
health, or even serious breakdowns, physical or mental, that maybe didn't have to happen.
Which kind of shifts us to the next big idea,
Sure.
changing how we treat our bodies, moving away from, well, it sounds harsh, but punishment, right, towards care.
Mm.
The source pointed out how hostile we can sometimes be, feeling tired. Oh, just push harder, be tougher, ate something bad. Time for restrictions.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic when you actually say it out loud.
It really is. There's this cultural thing almost that being tired is like a failure, a weakness.
Totally. I remember feeling genuinely guilty for needing a nap or a day off, like I wasn't trying hard enough.
Hmm.
But the podcast suggested flipping that script. What if, instead of beating ourselves up for being tired, we actually showed some gratitude?
Gratitude? How so?
Like acknowledging the incredible amount of work your body does, just keeping you going every single day. And when it signals, hey, I need a break, you actually listen.
Ah, okay. So it's reframing it. Not you versus your body, but you with your body. Like it's your closest ally.
Exactly, your ally. And what does an ally need? Support, resources, starting with, fuel.
Food. Yeah, the way we relate to food is often complicated. So much guilt, reward, punishment tied up in it.
Definitely. The podcast speakers talked about untangling that.
And the core idea was really simple, almost clinical. Food is fuel. That's its primary job.
Like gas in a car.
Precisely. You wouldn't pour, I don't know, soda into a high-performance engine and expect it to run well, would you?
No, definitely not.
But we do that to ourselves all the time with, junk food, processed stuff.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we feel sluggish or can't focus.
That example they gave about someone eating mostly from vending machines for a week
Yeah.
and experiencing serious brain fog.
Huh.
It wasn't lack of willpower, it was just bad fuel. Simple cause and effect.
And look, it's not about being perfect. Nobody eats perfectly all the time. It's more about making small, intentional shifts. Choosing foods that actually give you sustained energy more often than not. Even little changes add up.
Okay, so fuel's one thing. What about movement? Exercise often gets framed as like a chore, something you have to do.
Or a penalty, right? Like, oh, I ate that cake, now I have to go run.
Yeah, but the podcast argued it's more like basic maintenance.
Like changing the oil in your car. You do it to keep things running smoothly, prevent problems.
Yeah,
Not because the car did something wrong.
that makes sense. Our bodies are actually designed to move.
They crave it. And again, it doesn't have to mean hours at the gym or running marathons unless you love that.
So what then?
It could be just weaving in small bits of movement,
Yeah.
stretching when you wake up, taking a short walk on your lunch break, maybe putting on some music and dancing for 5 minutes.
Just engaging with your body positively, not like you're paying penance.
The comparison to brushing your teeth was really good, I thought.
How so?
You brush your teeth every day, hopefully, as basic hygiene, right? For long-term health. Not because you feel guilty about what you ate.
Okay, yeah.
Movement can be like that. Regular care for the system. And honestly, even a 10-minute walk can make you feel way more revitalized than scrolling on your phone for that same 10 minutes.
True. Okay, so we've got fuel, movement. What about rest? In our culture, resting is almost seen as unproductive.
Oh, totally. Hustle culture, right. Always grinding. But the podcast really pushed back on that. Rest isn't optional. It's crucial.
It's funny because when you are sleep deprived, you're not actually more productive, are you?
Not at all. You're less efficient. Your mood tanks. You can't think straight. That whole idea that grinding 10/4/7 equals success is, well, mostly a myth.
That image they use trying to build something solid like a house, but on a foundation of sand because you haven't slept.
Yeah, powerful, right. You just can't be resilient or strong without that basic foundation of rest.
Yeah.
And sleep isn't just downtime. It's when your body does its repair work.
Like the magic happens when you're resting.
Exactly. It's actively rebuilding, consolidating memories, all that essential stuff. So prioritizing sleep and even just short pauses during the day, it's strategic. It's smart, not weak.
Okay, strategic rest. I like that. Now, speaking of signals the body sends, what about pain? We usually see that as the enemy.
Right. Something to get rid of as fast as possible. Annoying, inconvenient.
But the podcast suggested a different view. Pain isn't the enemy, it's the messenger.
It's information. Your body's alarm system waving a big red flag saying, hey, something over here needs attention.
And what do we usually do with that alarm?
Get angry at it. Try to silence it with caffeine or painkillers. Maybe just ignore it and hope it goes away.
They shared that story about someone ignoring back pain, just pushing through it until it became a much bigger, more serious issue. The point was, the body wasn't trying to punish them. It was practically begging for help.
And pain isn't always, a sharp physical sensation. What else could be a signal?
That's a good question. Maybe things like persistent tiredness, even when you think you're sleeping enough, or ongoing digestive problems, maybe even feeling constantly foggy or irritable.
Yeah, those could absolutely be quieter signals. Early warnings that something's out of balance and needs looking at, not just dismissing. It's like your body whispering before it has to shout.
Listening to the whispers. Okay, this leads nicely into another idea they talked about. Rituals versus routines. What's the difference there?
Well, a routine can feel like just
Yeah.
ticking boxes, something you have to get through. A chore list.
Okay.
But a ritual, that has a different quality. It's done with more intention, maybe even a bit of mindfulness or, dare I say, reverence.
So, like, brushing your teeth could be a routine, just get it done, or it could be a ritual. How?
Maybe by just focusing on the sensation for those 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Not thinking about your to-do list. Or, as they suggested, maybe you light a candle, play some quiet music. You turn it into a small moment of deliberate self-care, not just scrubbing enamel.
Injecting intention into small things.
Exactly. Those little moments, maybe stretching for 5 minutes with real focus when you get out of bed.
Yeah.
Or mindfully preparing and savoring a cup of tea instead of gulping it down while checking emails.
They add up.
They build this underlying feeling of being cared for. It shifts your whole relationship with your body from something you battle against to something you nurture. Changes the vibe of your day.
Changing the vibe. I like that. And underlying all of this really is the connection between body and mind.
Absolutely fundamental. The podcast stressed they're not separate things fighting each other. They're a team, deeply connected.
What happens to one affects the other?
Totally. If you're physically exhausted and running on fumes, your mind isn't going to be sharp and clear, right?
Oh, definitely not.
And if your mind is racing with stress and anxiety, you often feel that physically too tense, shoulders headaches, stomach issues.
It's a two-way street, so caring for one automatically helps the other.
Precisely. Viewing them as partners, as a team, it helps you make choices that support the whole system. You start creating this positive upward spiral instead of feeling like you're constantly fighting yourself.
So, wrapping this all up, the big message from this deep dive, drawing on that English Leap podcast source, seems to be treat your body like the home it is, your only irreplaceable home.
Yeah. Prioritize those small, consistent acts of kindness and attention. Listen to it.
And it's not about suddenly becoming perfect overnight.
Definitely not. It's about progress, not perfection. Small steps, little rituals, building momentum one day at a time.
So, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about as you go about your day. What's just one small thing you could do today to show your body a little more care, a little more attention?
Hmm.
What's one quiet signal your home might be sending that you could actually tune into instead of ignoring?